Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. I'm Abdul Majid Shirazi. I have my friend Sahil with me. We are back again for the next episode on Surah Kahf. I'll just like to summarize a bit about our last discussion. It was based on the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said that the three surahs were revealed together as a triad, like Surah Bani Israel, whose other name is Surah Isra wal Miraj, and then is Surah Kahf, and the third one is Surah Maryam. Our guest, my friend Sahil, last time explained that to truly understand Surah Kahf, we have to understand a few things from Bani Israel and a few things from Surah Maryam. In Surah Bani Israel, you mentioned, the surah mentions the night journey of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So our friend, he mentioned that was done, that journey, the night journey to the seventh sky was done using portals, two kinds of portals, one in the horizontal direction from Mecca to Jerusalem, and then the other one was a vertical trajectory from Jerusalem to the skies. And then in Surah Maryam, we discussed the intergalactic traveling of Hazrat Idris alayhi salam, and that him being the first person to be given the power to write and use the pen for the first time to record the knowledge on paper or whatever material he was using. And he was also a traveler, intergalactic traveler. So these two things were discussed last time. I would request my friend Sahil to please move this discussion forward. With my first question here is going to be that you mentioned portals. First thing I would want to ask you is to describe portal a bit. For I know like most of us know what the portals are, but I would like him to give a brief explanation of what a portal is for those who don't know, and also cover in this that there's a story of a man in Surah Baqarah, ayat 259, who asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that how would you recreate or give life to us again once we die, and then the guy, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes him die for 100 years, and when he wakes up, he sees a donkey whose even carcass has almost turned to dust, and him and his food is still fresh. So kindly, in the light of all these things, can you explain portal, time travel, death, these concepts a bit?
Well, first, these three surahs were not revealed together. Of course, they were revealed differently. The Prophet ﷺ actually clubbed them together. Since he's the one who compiled, Bismillah, of course, and then he has this hadith with al-Mu'mineen, where he actually describes these as a set of great three surahs. Mm-hmm. Now, portal, I think it's a very complicated concept, since Quran Pak specifies these sort of traveling platforms differently. Mm-hmm. For example, when the angels are traveling, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually literally given us a time differential of how fast they actually travel through them. And it's a relative time scale that Allah has given for this planet versus the kind of time angels actually take. Now, since human psychology, as a Muslim psychology, of course, we believe in the Quran, we specifically are not psychologically trained to put angels in any sort of a portal. Yeah. When we think angels come down, we think they come down like a space shuttle come down. There's no, because, when you look at the trajectory of the airplanes, there are actually roads that they actually travel to. There are fly zones and there are no fly zones. And then there are optimum distances. Yeah. And every pilot knows that. Yeah. And we have those lines drawn on the globe. Mm-hmm. But for a space shuttle, there is no optimum distance except the vertical line, right? Yeah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not really specify like that. Our psychology is like that. So, for example, when we say the Prophet ﷺ was, being ridiculed at Taif, but Jibreel alayhi salam comes down, we don't really think that a portal opens and then a portal opens here and there and then Jibreel, comes down. Even though that's the fastest way of traveling. So it was a portal that actually Jibreel used. Mm-hmm. Because the Quran actually specifies that this is how fast, and specifically when Amr of Allah is actually to come down, the angels actually take that
It's the command of Allah.
It's the hukam, hukam. And then, of course, this is a hukam. Jibreel does not really move on his own accord.
Yeah.
So, psychologically speaking, it's a very tough concept to swallow, that there are portals.
Yeah.
First and foremost, why is there a portal?
Yeah.
Because psychologically,
for us, we just think that the angels can fly, so they are using the same dimension to go up and down.
However, the Quran actually specifies, and this is not just the Quran, even the Hadith specify that, let me just give you an example. When the Mi'raj happened, they went from Kaaba to Baitul Laham.
Yeah.
Okay. Why didn't you just go take off from Kaaba?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there was a reason why they actually took off. So the argument is always made that, it was the first of the commandments that was revealed at that time. So Jews were told through this journey that now your reign is over and now Islam is taken over. This is exactly the philosophy of Muslim scholars.
Yeah.
But then the real question is, why didn't they take off from Baitul Muqaddas, Masjid Aqsa? They didn't take off from there. They took off from the Dome of the Rock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a question I have to ask, because that has no significance in terms of the reign of Judaism to, that now we're overthrowing your reign and now, the crown is back to where it belongs.
Yeah.
So, because Masjid Aqsa was supposed to be that place.
So do you know, like, where does this concept come from, actually? Like, do we have anything in the Hadith or in the Tafsir regarding this? Like, the reign of Judaism, Jews is over.
This is a commentary of so many scholars that, the real...
So it's a personal opinion.
It's not Hadith,
There's no Hadith.
Quranic. Because I can't just disregard it because so many scholars believe in this, but the real commentary on this specific journey from Baitullah to Baitul Muqaddas is the fact that that's a declaration that no more of your misconception that you are still carrying the Isra of the planet now. Now we've taken the Isra. Hence, Hazrat Musa came in behind the congregation prayer.
Although I remember, like, there's another thing where the Sahaba during the Salah had to face from Jerusalem to Kaaba.
And that was a Muslim internal. That's an internal matter for Muslims.
Okay.
Since Jews didn't really care.
Yeah.
Or why did you shift from Baitul Muqaddas to Kaaba all of a sudden during a prayer? That was a test of the iman of the Sahaba at that time, who were really, because that was an Arabian thing.
Yeah.
And that made make sense that, and if of course there's a hadith on that, because some people in that prayer, when Prophet ﷺ shifted his face, they had a bit of a confusion or a problem.
Yeah.
But that's a totally different story. So it has nothing to do with this. So, but this specific concept should have, according to the commentary, should have taken place at Baitul Masjid Aqsa.
Yeah.
It didn't. That's like 500 yards out of Masjid Aqsa, that Dome of the Rock. And that Dome of the Rock has a lot of significance in terms of time travel and portals in Judaism.
Okay.
Dome of the Rock is not just an ordinary place. It carries a lot of significance. However, since I'm not going to go into Israeliyat and, all Judaic concepts, I'm just going to stick to the Muslim concept of portal. Now, since we know marriage is the trajectory, the portals of the angels, that is specified in the Quran. So the portal does exist, literally like that.
So is it like a hole in a space-time?
Well, that's up to our own imagination. However, if we have to really go into what is the actual nature of the angel and how because literally speaking, as far as my psychology is concerned, there's no need for an angel for any specific pathway. But since Allah specifies it, now it's a part of my iman to not carry my current psychology and break it. That, it's not just a haphazard movement. There are pathways and there are rules of this whole, movement and transference and, transcendence or ascents. There are rules. That means physics. Literally physics is applied. Those rules and laws are applied. If it were not physics, no time differential would have been given according to whatever 50,000 years on Earth is a day of that's pure physics. Now that does literally put physics inside Quran, and we should put physics inside our psychology. And that's an article of our faith. It's not it's a very sensitive concept.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't just say, whenever Jibreel wants, he just comes down. No, there are pathways he comes down. Well, of course, he can come down on his own accord, but he can't just come out from anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a genie concept. You know, in our psychology, it's like poof, you get out from here, and you know. So there are ways. And to further strengthen this specific psychology, in Surah Kahf is the first surah where Zulkarnain was given the ways.
Yeah.
The ways. Now that literally does not mean anything else other than the portal, because Fa'atba Usababa is the next ayah, which literally says that now we gave him the ways.
Gave him the ways, yeah.
Now, and then he follows the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He follows one of the ways towards the setting of the sun, and then he goes towards the origination of the sun, and so on. Yeah. So the portal itself, what does it look like? How many kinds are there? Well, we know of one for sure. That's marriage. We know of a very high possibility of the other. That's sababa. You know what I'm saying? And in the Quran, so many times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this root word of sab, in so many, 10 specific occasions. All of those occasions, Quran is speaking about ways towards the heavens.
Okay.
Now, we have to make sure that we understand that if marriage is a concept, then what is the problem of us actually understanding that there is a possibility? There are other ways. And then in Surah Mulk, when Allah Ta'ala says we have placed these heavens in parallel to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And these universes. And then in Surah Mulk, Allah Ta'ala himself says, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, that we've adorned this sky of this planet.
Yeah.
With those lamps, which are the stars.
Yeah.
That means there are other skies.
Yeah.
And in the hadith of the Miraj, Prophet ﷺ meets Adam alayhi salam on this sky. And then he goes to the next one, he meets Yusuf alayhi salam, and then Harun alayhi salam, and then Isa alayhi salam, and then Idris alayhi salam, and then, Musa, and then Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Yeah.
So these are certain different heavens. So there is a physical proof of the presence of all of these separate, uniquely identifiably different places and entities. And then you can actually place the marriage between all of these. And then, I can go on for days on this one, but you get the actual specificity of our belief of portals and these pathways.
So I guess now here, our concept and the concept of science is a lot similar here. Like it's a pathway.
I doubt it. I'll tell you why. On a basic level, there is a pathway.
Yeah.
But if you read the old civilization texts and we go through ancient history, we see that they didn't believe in portals. They believed in gateways. They did not really believe that, according to, if I take that psychology of ancient civilization, interstellar movement and put it in the Muslim psychology, it would seem like this. That Zulkarnain did not have to go through a journey. He just traveled through a dimension.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He opened the door and he was right there with the people who were talking about, that we do not have any protection from the sun.
Okay.
And then he opened the portal and he went through the gateway. It was like less than a second, what's the word? Transference of the whole thing. Now, there could be it. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter whether it's a horn-shaped portal or it's that
spiral,
swirling
seashell.
Yeah, it could be anything. But the fact that it does exist in Islamic psychology and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is telling us to keep that in your psychology, then I, in my personal opinion, it is not Islamic to think that, oh my God, this is just science and, this is something innovatively put inside our psychology. I'm sorry, this is not how it works.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I think we can move on to Surah Kahf. My first...
Before we move into that, we didn't really discuss the multi-dimensional map of the universe.
Okay.
For that, we need to understand that there is a vertical line that you can draw. If I draw a line from on a y-axis, that's a one-dimensional line. And then I put an x-axis line, that's a two-dimensional line.
Yeah.
Now, our brains are trained to think on 1, 2, 3, 4 dimensions. But since we know the concept of jinn, we have a very, and that's a Muslim belief. We know that Surah Jinn itself exists in the Quran. So, even if there were some hadith, doesn't really matter because Quran himself, we are Muslims have to believe that there are jinns.
Yeah.
But where are they? In the Quran, Allah Ta'ala says that they can see you from a place you cannot see them from.
Yeah.
So that means there is a physical concept of dimension in the Quran as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not an XY dimension.
Yeah.
And that's not an XYZ dimension as well.
Yeah.
That is a parallel dimension. Because if it was a Z dimension, then we would have felt them.
Yeah.
We can't even feel them. And we cannot see them. We can see the Z dimension. We are all 3D people.
Yeah.
Now, we cannot see that. That means that there's a totally different way of looking at dimensions.
Yeah.
Because if someone can see me, there is absolutely no possibility in physics that I cannot see them unless, of course, it's at a quantum level or it's at such a grand level that I am overwhelmed by the very sight of it. That's physics. But that's not what Allah Ta'ala is saying. Allah Ta'ala is saying there are millions of jinns and there are Muslims and there are Christians and there's a colony and there's a population and then they are living among you and there you cannot see them and they can see you.
Yeah.
From places that they're looking at you. That means that's the actual word. They look at you from places you cannot see.
Yeah. And then we actually have a company of jinns coming to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam
Exactly,
after they heard the Quran.
And that means the Prophet ﷺ could see them. He met them. The Sahaba were told to stay back.
Yeah.
Abu Bakr Siddiq himself said, I was there when this happened. And we couldn't see who he was talking to. But he was talking to the jinnat because then Prophet ﷺ came back and he told them that this was a delegation that actually had an appointment set up.
Yeah.
And then Surah Jinn itself, when it starts, Qul uhiya ilayya annahu istama'a. Annahu istama'a means we heard. They said that we heard the Quran. Prophet ﷺ was reciting the Quran and they said, Qul uhiya ilayya annahu istama'a faqalu jinna. They said that, we've heard something so weird.
Yeah.
They could hear us as well. It's not just that they can see us.
Yes, hearing as well.
Ajaba, there's something weird, Of course, that weird is the astonishing miracle of the linguistic of the Quran. I can sense that.
Yeah.
But they cannot just see, they can hear us. That means they're not that grand or not that microscopic. This is something which is, I'm sorry. When this corona thing was going on, people were like, there could be the jinn and the shayateen and all that. It could be, but it doesn't really seem as if, there's just one way of looking at them.
Yeah.
And then when the Prophet ﷺ was talking to them, it would have been a little more easier for Abu Bakr Siddiq to explain that he was looking at his hand or in the air at some microscopic things.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't really seem as if that is the psychology we should
if he was talking to a proper figure in front of him.
Yeah, if not his own size or, in a relative dimension or proportion where, it is not that weird.
Yeah. So probably maybe they came in our dimension or Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was given this power to look into their dimension for that time period.
Yeah, since Prophet has very clear hadith about what kind of jinns there are, 3 kinds of jinns, jinns who actually change shapes, jinns, and so on and so forth. There are so many accounts of him describing what jinn actually is all about.
And there's another thing like this, like for example, we know that in our hadith that once a person is in the grave, he'll be able to see his future after the day of resurrection, whether he's going to Jannah or the Jahannam.
That's a very good point.
And he can see, and that window is going to open and he can see his home or his dwelling. Whether it's in fire or it's in Jannah.
Yeah. I'll refer to that when,
here.
Yeah.
And there's
the same window that opens up in Surah Kahf as well.
Oh wow! Yeah. I'm so excited to
well, not same,
that.
But that's the same psychology that that triggers.
And then we have another thing. I heard this from somewhere. I don't know how authentic it is. That Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam at the time of I don't know, it was a specific time or it was a routine prayer. Once he was in the ruku.
Yeah.
So he got to see the.
It's authentic. Yeah.
It's authentic, yeah?
So
he got to see the fruits from Jannah. And then he went again to pluck them, but then he couldn't, maybe something. And then when he was asked that you did 2 rukus.
The eclipse prayer.
That was the
eclipse prayer.
That was the eclipse, yeah.
But we're talking about the jinn. Because there was a jinn during the prayer as well. The Prophet said, I would have grabbed him, But then I was a little shy of the promise of Sulaiman, my brother. He said that only I should be able to grab and control the jinn.
Subhanallah.
You know what I'm saying? So, he said I would have just grabbed him and put him in a bag or something. But I didn't. I let him, play around.
Yeah.
So, this is a portal that opened in front of the Prophet because he said that, did you not notice me moving a little farther and then moving a little back? Because he saw Amr bin Nuhail Khuzai in the same hadith. First he saw the Jannah and he said the fruit was so near to me that I was about to pluck him. And then I saw hell and I saw Amr bin Nuhail Khuzai picking his intestines and putting him back in his belly from the ground, And then he moves a step behind. So he moves one step forward and one step backward during the prayer. And this is what the hadith is, so that means, he could, but that's the hadith which literally connects with the Miraj hadith, because Miraj is another portal and there's, this open, and then, Salatu Mirajul Mu'min, which means that every moment can actually go through that trajectory. We take it metaphorically, that, it's just a figure of speech that, that's your maximum ascent. When you're in
so
prayer.
what stops us to limit this meaning of this hadith, Salatu Mirajul Mu'min?
The psychology. The very psychology of us not accepting portals as an Islamic concept, and we actually divorce it and call it a scientific concept. We cannot divorce this word portal as Muslims. I think science just came up with it. We already had that concept. And it's not just meaning, but application and its description and its use, that application in the Quran and the Hadith. Yeah, that's why As-Salatul Miraj moment does not really hold any physical value to
while in physical or scientific terminology it can hold a meaning like
I believe in this.
Prayer is a portal to a movement.
I believe that during the time of Dajjal, prayer is the way Mu'mineen are going to escape. Well, not escape, but know where to go and what is coming from. Because this is not just a small
It's actually
matter.
very interesting. Like, it has been right in front of our eyes for all this time, but we never looked into these things this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're done now, we can move on to Surah Al-Kahf. So first of
that's your first question of portal. That's just a big question. So
so the first thing I would like to ask you to just give us a little background.
Before why I was talking about dimensions and all of those things and jinnat, so that we can understand that it's not just it's a lot of ways in a lot of angles. We could be opening a portal to a dimension and we'll still be here in terms of our movement and still be going to a totally different universe, because I just would be moving an inch out of this dimension and I'm gone. Or I could be traveling millions and millions of miles literally through a mirage and would be just like as a normal airplane does, but with intensely high speed and absolutely no change in my physical attribute. So these are many concepts. We can't just stick a concept of portal into an ascension and just going to Saturn or the seventh heaven. We could be using a portal to just traverse through a certain dimension. And I'll be invisible here, but I'll be, still here.
Yeah. That's why I mentioned the story of a man.
That's attributed to Uzair alayhi salam, but
okay. So Surah Kahf, would you give us some background? Why was it revealed? That's going to be my first question.
Sure. Yeah. I think this is the base through which we should set our psychology. I think Surah Kahf was revealed at such a time with such an amazing, because there are no coincidences. This is not a chance. And that too, the Surah of Quran cannot be revealed just because, you know what? Since you guys came in and asked a question, let's just reveal a surah. Our Rabb does not work like this.
That's actually a lot deeper concept.
Way bigger. So we'll come to that, because that concept is also covered in Surah Kahf. It's so amazing.
Okay.
The concept of inshallah is in.
Exactly.
So this is something which is so big that we better understand how the psychological placement of a Muslim should be. So Surah Kahf was revealed literally to answer the question of
Jews,
the technology of how time travel is done, and what is the concept of ruh, and what is the concept of what do you know about the people of the caves? And what is the whole story that you know? If you are a true prophet, you should know that. And then, of course, tell us what you know about Dhul-Qarnayn. Now, that's not a regular question. That's not a question, you just throw out in the air. That's just, try and ask him. That's one of those 3 tough things we don't know. So
one of the things that's famous about this is like, they threw these 3 questions because they believed that no one other than a prophet can answer them. Although the story of the 7 sleepers was present in Christianity and has been present in many other cultures or civilizations as well. So if it was just a story they wanted to hear, it doesn't prove him to be a prophet. But probably they wanted something else from her.
Not at all. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Anyone could have told them this story. Yeah. Even though that's not the one question that they asked.
Yeah.
But let's just stick to this question one.
Now we have the story of Alexander in other civilizations.
Nobody believes. Nobody believes that.
That's fine if they don't believe it. But even in mythology, there is a story, right? There does exist a story of story of 7 sleepers as well.
Yeah, but specifically sticking to the 7 sleepers, everybody had a fair idea of what 7 sleeper story is. Yeah. And at the time Prophet ﷺ was, people did attribute that Muhammad ﷺ is a big reader, and he steals stuff from here and there.
It was
and he has a lot of mentors. Yeah. But this is not the time. This is not that time. You have to understand what is the time.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to, let me just start from the background of how these questions came about. So, let me just tell you what is the pretext of Surah Kahf. The pretext of Surah Kahf is inside the Ahadith. You'll have to look at it from, you'll reverse engineer as to what the Jews and the use of Surah Kahf in our psychology has in common. And then you'll understand why did the Jews come in. Okay. So a little look into the history, and then people will understand what's actually going on. Jews themselves are waiting for their Messiah for ever since. Mm-hmm. So much so that, they're looking into so many signs of the Messiah. Yeah. And since Jesus Christ did not live up to those signs, they were like, I'm sorry. Even though he should have, because their Messiah is going to be imitating Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
However, they were told that, your Messiah is going to come at such and such place. Such and such place would look like such and such area in the geography, and so on and so forth. We have this story from Salman Farsi's account as well. Yeah. People knew. Those Christians knew where the Prophet is going to come in. Dead on accuracy, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were actually following that prophecy of their own, and there was no other way of them coming to Medina. They were in Medina because they were already preparing for whatever is about to happen.
Yeah.
And they were looking for their Messiah.
Yeah.
Now, what is the Messiah going to do for them? You know what I'm saying? That's the real question. Why are they looking for their Messiah? In terms of, their own survival or their own purpose fulfillment, which is, the capturing of the whole planet and making them live under their ruling and so on and so forth. So it's because it's not the power of evil. Jews are still religious people who believe in, their monotheistic religion, who actually think that, they are very connected with God.
Yeah.
So it's not like a satanic cult that they were trying to follow.
Yeah.
They're actually following a prophecy, which is to be fulfilled by their Messiah.
Yeah.
So, in other words, they have a little test of whoever claims to be a prophet. They're going to test. There's a Messiah quiz that they're carrying.
Okay.
So if that person can tell them accurately of what all of this is, then this man is our Messiah, because he will be able to use all of these 3 things.
Okay.
And so if you reverse engineer these questions, you can know literally what the Dajjal is going to be doing. That's how important these 3 questions are. Because the Dajjal is going to do whatever they actually want, their prophecy is. Their prophecies are not wrong. Even we believe in their prophecy that the Dajjal is going to come and, resurrect the Jews.
That's a common prophecy.
So
it's like, just like we have Dalailun Nubuwa. So they also have
Dalailun Dajjal. Yeah. Well, Dalailul Messiah, we call it Al-Masih. Right? Yeah. So, and that is his name, Masih. He's going to be known as Masih. Yeah. Prophet ﷺ also calls him Masih. So what we really need to understand is that if Jews are testing our prophet, they must have tested many other prophets on that very template. And whoever does not fulfill that template does not know what the technology is, and that's not going to fetch them anything. So the real question is not whether the Prophet ﷺ knew this or not.
Yeah.
You understand me? The real question is that their Messiah is going to know these questions and is going to be able to use these technologies.
Yeah.
Hence, for 1400 years, we already know what the Dajjal is going to do. You have to understand that.
Yeah.
Because they came in and they said, recite to us Surah Kahf. Of course, they didn't say it.
Yeah, they didn't say the word.
But whatever they said was all Surah Kahf. Because Surah Kahf came in to answer all these three questions. So, Ruh is the very concept. Ruh is the concept of light and, the source of all of that power. We think gravity is the power, but in the Bible, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, let there be light. That's the first agency of creation and change. That's the balance of the universe.
Yeah.
We think gravity is the balance of the universe. But it doesn't really make sense because God never mentions the power of gravity. He mentions the power of light. Before anything.
Yeah.
Any matter. The element of light is created.
Wow.
We till date, science does not really know what light actually is. There are only theories about photons and, how they transmit or carry whatever kind of information. But that's not a small matter when you think that, Dajjal is going to use the concept of light. And that's the first question they ask. What is ar-ruh? You know what I'm saying? Now, there's a lot of commentary on what scholars think, what the Jews meant when they asked ar-ruh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a little deeper than this because the next two questions are also.
And there's some difference of opinion also, whether there was a question about ruh or it was something else.
Yeah.
There are only three questions, whether it was a question about the two guardians or maybe the ruh. It's most narrated hadith is about ruh. So then next question is about Ashab Kahf, the people of the cave. And the people of the cave story is something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that nobody knows how many they are except of Allah. Yeah.
They think they were this, and their contemporaries think that there's so many, but only Allah knows how many. So there's a key there of what kind of number of people have to be at a certain place to actually make that happen. Yeah. But let's not go into that kind of detail right now. But the real question is Surah Kahf was revealed an answer to a certain question. And that certain question is a test of their Messiah.
The three questions were for Ruh, for Kahf,
Ashab Kahf, and Zulkarnain. And then they asked Zulkarnain, what's the link between Ashab Kahf and Zulkarnain? Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. If you forget this incident, then there is no way of us knowing of why are these two incidents in the same surah.
Yeah.
You have to understand that. It is through the Jews, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us of why He put these two in the same chapter of Al-Kahf. So that means there's a very big link of what these two different concepts carry and how are they, similar, and what kind of reminiscence is there between Ashab Kahf or whatever happened to them and Zulkarnain and whatever happened to him.
Yeah.
There is a very big and strong link. It's not a haphazard thrown question. You have to understand that.
Yeah.
It's a test of Messiah.
And then there's a story of Musa and Khidr.
Yeah, but they didn't ask that, so I'm not going there. So that's another gift for the Muslims, because Allah Ta'ala put a lot more.
Yeah, exactly.
And they only have three
things to be understood.
We have so many, So
there is something related to Qadr, I think.
Not just Qadr.
No. The first thing about the story of Khidr is the portal.
Yeah.
The first thing that that's another. It is as big of a concept as it is in Surah Marij, because in this surah, that's the only place Allah Ta'ala described the shape of a portal.
Yeah.
Surah Kahf, we have the shape of the portal.
Okay.
Now this is something which is going to come up later, so we'll come to that. But right now, these Jews asked a certain question of Zulkarnain, and then the whole story of Zulkarnain is narrated in such detail that it carries a lot of meaning in this sort of use and application, but not as much detail as a story would be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we have a lot of stories in the Quran. They go in a lot more detail. Zulkarnain's story does not carry details. It carries codes. It carries certain weight in those verses.
Wow.
We cannot narrate of who Zulkarnain was where. What kind of a story is this? but we know of what he had and what did he do with his power. Where did he go? At what weird point in time, weird place. Till date, I cannot find a satisfactory commentary on the Quran of how come the sun sets in the dark, murky water.
And probably only the person who did have an idea of that technology, only those people would be capable of understanding what Rasulullah is reciting.
That's exactly what I mean. This is why Allah Ta'ala says they've actually recognized you as the father recognizes the son.
Yeah.
And now that's not another randomly chosen analogy.
Yeah.
That is a very crisp analogy of how a father recognizes a son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I will go in detail when we're going to do so.
Like this recognition is so much.
First, let us stick to Kahf.
No, we're not. We're just talking about the pretext here.
We have to go through Surah Kahf, inshallah, verse by verse.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, about a father recognizing son. Like, even in old times, we know that after the war, if someone was really mutilated really badly and people were unable to recognize who he is, either one of their parents would have to be called in to help, you know. So that's the level of accuracy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the Jews understood. So probably through this thing, they really knew that their Dalailun Nubuwah have fulfilled, you know. So that's another discussion why they still did not accept him. Anyway,
well, that's one way of looking at it, and that's the right way of looking at it. But if we can actually look into it from a totally different perspective. That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses the analogy of God, of the father recognizing a son, that would also mean that they would know who the successor is, the real successor, you know, of who's going to be carrying the Isra now. Yeah. And they know now Isra is theirs. But since they didn't want to let go of the Isra, they're going to put the Isra in someone else, and that's also going to be one of their sons. Which of course means the DNA, and that's why they're just playing around with this very concept of, you know.
Can you explain this whole thing again? I didn't get it.
Well, talking about because there were two sons, Ishaq and.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the common way of looking at it. Of, you know, since Ishaq had the Isra, you know what I'm saying, and Ismail did not have the Isra, and according to their books, of course.
Isra
is the crown. No, Isra is Israel's. Isra means the crown, the kingdom. Okay. The kingdom is with them. Now, when Allah Ta'ala says they recognize that father recognizes the son, that means they know that now he's the successor. The father is gone. Now he's got the crown.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is something which is
Subhanallah.
Yeah, which is a perfect analogy for them to understand that, you know what? Yeah,
your reign is gone.
Your reign is over. Yeah. Wow. They recognize the son. Again, you know, going that into detail, the real question is Surah Kahf's actual placement. The revelation came according to a certain incident, and that incident is the quiz, the Dajjal template, the Messiah test. And this is something which makes Surah Kahf so important. And knowing what happened, why it was revealed at a certain point, and what were the questions asked is the most important thing about Surah Kahf.
Okay. So inshallah, I'm going to start Surah Kahf verse by verse. Do you have any preference using any specific translation?
Well,
should I just follow Sahih International or?
Just for everybody's reference, I personally prefer Abdul Halim's translation. He's not only more equipped of handling the phrase of Arabic and also the phrase of English, but any other translation that I've gone through 11, of course, because we compare 11 through many websites now as well, the main top 10s. Most of the translations actually confuse in the phrasing of the English phrasing. And so it becomes a little tough for us to understand that. But Abdul Halim is something I prefer, but I don't really, have any specification because we're going to be sticking to Arabic more than anything else.
So I'm going to be only reading the translation.
Okay.
So you have to stop me wherever you have to make a point.
Sure.
Okay? So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So the first ayah starts with, all praise is due to Allah who has sent down upon his servant the book and has not made therein any deviance. He has made it straight to warn of severe punishment from him and to give good tidings to the believers who do righteous deeds that they will have a good reward, in which they will remain forever. and to warn those who say Allah has taken a son.
Yeah, that's where you should stop now.
Okay.
See, the first 2-3 things are basically psychological settings. We have to understand we are only talking in terms of Ad-Dajjal, the time of Dajjal.
Yes.
So when the first 10 ayahs are to be the most authentic reference, that these are the 10 ayahs which are going to have the actual shield against Dajjal.
Dajjal,
So we really need to understand of what's going to be happening during the time of Dajjal. In the first episode, we did cover of what's the map going to look like.
Yeah.
So these ayahs, if you look at them clearly, you can actually see that belief in the book, the Quran, is the first thing that we have to understand, that there is absolute perfection in this. So there will be the first fitna of how to confuse Quran, as there are some good things